Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Planet Coaster 2 with Koki Pirate. Tonight we're just gonna kind of mess around with some stuff, check out some stuff, and maybe start on some stuff. AKA a new park. Dino Dukes, what's going on, man? Good to see ya. So I actually had looked at doing a another flight in Flight Sim, and the weather just was looking pretty rough everywhere I wanted to fly. And high gusty winds and a bunch of storms popping up all over the place, or it was way too hot, so the airplane performance would be pretty terrible. So I said, you know what, let's go ahead and jump into some PC2 tonight. I had talked about doing it this evening earlier during that first flight, so why don't we go in? I actually do, while I'm thinking about it, want to go into here. Just a second here. Yeah, while I was thinking about it, I did want to go into here and save a couple things if I hadn't already. Yeah, for example, like this pool. Actually, it'd be kind of tough because you can't save the terrain. I'm pretty sure I do have a copy of this coaster. In fact, maybe what I should do is just go into my, well, actually don't even need to look on the workshop. What I probably should just go ahead and do is double check my, my creations here. These are all from... Oh, I forgot about that. The Summit Striker from the Viking Park. Mako 2.0. Now, the question is this the old version? Yeah, it's the exact same thing. Okay. So maybe this... You know what? I think now that I remember, this is a slightly modified version. I think the first time it was even a little bit more janky in some spots. This is a coaster I really want to keep the layout and a lot of the elements of, and it probably just needs some smoothing, some better banking and stuff. So I may remake this for a future park. I have that. Nope. This is the one that Jimper's made. Aqua Cruiser. Oh yeah, I do have that. Holy cow, I forgot that. I saved that. Ah, yeah, okay. So it looks like I do have that. Yeah, that version needs to be revamped a little bit. Wild Mamba? Nope, that is the one that Band Player remade for me. Twisted. Ah, that's this one back here. Yeah. Haha! Needs some updating if we're gonna do something with that there. Okay, anyway. So I think I actually do have everything saved. Do I have the Wild Mouse? That'd be... Other question. And then the follow-up question to that is this Wild Mouse is even worth saving, because I think it's kind of a piece of junk. I was never very happy with how this came out. Yeah, that's... Ugh, I don't know. Not very good. Not even worth saving, I think, at this point. I do have the original Surf Coaster. This, I believe, still exists as is in the original version, or the current version of this park. Doesn't even have the buildings yet, so I'll just hold on to this save file. Hey, Velocituber, what's going on? Yeah, that's right. So this here was called the Tiki Peak Slides because this mountain that I created over here was originally called Tiki Peak. Hence the Tiki's up at the top of the mountain, and then the slides went through the mountain into the splash pool down below. This, you know what? This is a platform perhaps worth saving, maybe remaking. Am I doing spotlights today? Yeah. Yeah, we'll do a few. We can definitely check out a few things. I don't know how much time I want to spend on them. Bruh, what? Okay, could you do my park? Yeah, we can look at your park. I don't normally do parks. Except you did ask last night, and I said that we would be able to check your park out. So if I do the park, I'm not gonna get on every single ride or every single coaster, but what I'll do is just look kind of overall at the park, and I'll take your recommendations or maybe what the other folks really want to see, and we'll do a few ride POVs. I generally, as a rule of thumb, when I'm checking a park out, I try not to spend more than 30 minutes on a park, and even less sometimes, just depending on how large it is and stuff. But yeah, we can check it out. I actually really do want to save this platform for the water slides. The only thing about it is, and this is where I really wish you could do, like, you could save terrain work. Of course, it's really difficult. You have to save that as a park blueprint, because some of the coasters that I make, and a lot of the coasters that other people make, that really have a lot of like terrain effect with, like tunneling over a mountain pass, stuff like that. Terrain-based coasters like this up here, like you go plop this coaster on a flat piece of land, and it really isn't going to make much sense, but this is built around the terrain and everything. So I mean, I really wish you could carry that over when you save a blueprint, but I understand how that would be really difficult to execute. Can you do my park that you're a part of collab mode? Maybe. One more coaster left and it's all the Woody. And it's the Woody, you've ridden all the other coasters. Terrain coaster looks nice. Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's like this dive that I built, the very original one. I'm actually surprised this still existed in this. I thought at that point I had gotten rid of it, but clearly not, as it's still present. I would never build a coaster like this on a flat piece of land. Like, this is just so integral to this coaster, having this island out here, all the trees, the drop through. And actually this got messed up. I was trying to get it to go more down the center of the mountain, but that didn't work out quite. Could always do a little more terraforming and stuff. But I definitely want to save a few things and upload them. Particularly, I really love, this is one of my favorite wave pools I've ever made. This pool, I didn't really quite get the diamond shape down, but it came out pretty nice overall. Maybe you could save that. It's more so the deck, trying to work around that and stuff. This isn't as big of a deal, but, you know, having the restaurant... Oh, wait a second. Is that... Yeah, the path is lopsided. I just noticed that. Man. That's not right. Tortigan Tales, what's going on? What's up, boss man? T3 sucks! Need to put a T3 sucks speaker in this park, in the original. Maybe at the top of the Tiki slides here. I'm actually really quick. I'm going to go ahead and preview these, then I'll get the code and take a look at Velocitubers Park. But what we'll do is check out these couple. Like the rating on them, I don't know how the nausea is that high. Hey, Tortigan Tales, I heard they have opened up Fury. They did that, I think, Wednesday this week. So I'm hoping to make my way back to Carowinds here within the next few weeks. But it might be a little bit later in the season, once the weather kind of cools off. I'm definitely going to try to get back for Scarowinds. Oh, there's a tree in the way, I just noticed that. Well... Alright, any day now. This has got to be such an intimidating view. Where you're gonna drop straight down this clear tube and get shot out through the middle of a mountain. Yeah, this brings back. I had so much fun with this park until I just ran out of ideas and got burnt out. But this was most of last summer when this was basically all I was playing and all I was doing was working on this park. I mean, hence I think this is like day 30. And I made it all the way to day 90 in this park and I just redid so many things. So many times. I honestly got tired of it. Yeah, I saw that. I just hope that support sways under the G-force now, or it will snap that support. Especially in the dark, yeah. I don't know why it isn't going right now. See, I thought it was open. Well, we can open them all up. There's just not many people getting on them right now. But that crowd should clear out momentarily. But that's a... Have you ever made any shooter rides, Cookie? I have not. I've thought about trying it, but they're so elaborate, so time-consuming. And I'm not really sure that it's worth it, because I don't think they retain their value, so over time... The reputation just diminishes to old and nobody gets on it. Yeah, I had a really fun time at Scarowinds. Early November last year when I went. And I think I rode Fury like 15 or 18 times that day or something like that. And by the evening, it was like 47 or something, which is not freezing cold, but it was pretty chilly, especially when you're going 90 miles an hour plus. So Fury 325, the coaster is rated its top speed is 95 miles an hour. The kicker is when it's running slow, like it's cool or you have light trains. that coaster still reaches 88, 89, 90, which that you notice it, but 90 to 95 miles an hour is not that big of a difference. So yeah, either way, when you're going 90 miles an hour and it's 45, 46 degrees outside by the end of the night, I was like, oh. And I almost went New Year's Eve, since the park was open until 1 a.m. And I'm like, well, the sun sets at like 5:30. So do you know how many night rides? Except it was like 36 degrees that night. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going up there and riding Fury for 8 hours, you know, in that cold of temperatures. you probably could get frostbite at that point. What's going on, Kings Island? How are ya? Is this the new park? No, this is an old version of the tropical park. Way back, day 29, okay. So most of this stuff didn't even exist. The pirate section didn't exist. This did, but all the other stuff out this way did not. Yeah, the dive coaster's fun, it's just the stats were not that great on it. So it really kind of needed a major revamp. Although the forces were good, but even that is kind of mild. So there was just some more stuff that could be done with it. It needed some smoothing, it needed a refinement of the drop, the lift hill for sure. Really just needed some smoothing. Alright, but let's get out of this. And let me go ahead and get the code for Velocitubers Park here. Where is it? There it is. Okay. So I'm going to start out with this. I'm not doing, I'm not doing showcasing all night, for sure. But we'll spend a little bit of time at first, and then I want to go in and mess around with some ideas. I don't know that I'm going to actually start the new park tonight. I might. But I may just do some... Oh, a Hurler Retract. Take a look at that. I'm not going to download this and ride it, but I do want to just take a look. Took Hurler from Carowinds in North and South Carolina and changed the layout. That actually may be pretty neat to look at some point. It's like when you finally shave your beard. Okay, here we go. BJLGRW5FP. Uh-oh, SeaWorld New Orleans. Oh, man, this is going to be neat. I already like that based on the name. Hey, Obscure the Coaster Head, what's going on? Win music, heck yeah. I love Planka music. This game really does have some awesome music, and even PC1, which I don't have. I never played. But a lot of, if not all, I know this game has a lot of the PC1 music. Can't wait for you to see it maxed out my data. Well, you've got a fair bit of open land, but it looks like you did take up most of the park. Holy cow. This actually looks pretty comprehensive. I'm looking forward to checking this out. I think PC1 has better music. SeaWorld Amity Island is the park I'm making. Hey Shem, what's going on, man? I've been affected by the... I saw your message there, just gotta get back up to read it. I've been affected by the PS5 downage tonight. I didn't know it was down. But I'm enjoying being here while you do Planco stuff. Awesome, man. So most of you had come in for my flight sim. Not most of you, but some of you had come in for my flight sim stream, which is much appreciated. Flight sim has always been my bread and butter. That's what really got my channel started. And then once I got into PC2, it kind of took off. And then just going between the two, it's kind of traded up. I have a lot. It's almost like a 50-50 split. And I know some of you here enjoy both. Okay, look at this. This is really pretty. So you've got the lobby up over here. Now this is something I'm a little bit curious about, because you have the gates over there, but then you have the gates up here, which is clearly the intended entrance of the park. So I'm not sure what the point, and I'm not criticizing you, but I really don't know what the point of having the two. If it has to do with like guest sequencing or something like that. Follow the yellow brick road. Look at that, yellow and blue. Follow the blue brick road. Oh man, take a look at this right here. This is really neat. So you walk through the entrance and you have this beautiful view of the lighthouse and the observation tower. This, from what I've seen a lot of, actually screams SeaWorld Orlando to me. And having been there, so I took a trip, so those of you that don't know, I took a trip to SeaWorld Orlando last March, so not a few months ago, a year and 4 months ago, I guess, and had an absolutely fantastic time. And actually my boss, I was talking with him about it today, he just went to SeaWorld Orlando with his wife, like last week. And he only got to go on 2 of the coasters. And it was a split trip. He went there and down to Epcot at Disney. But so the only 2 coasters he went on were Icebreaker and Pipeline. And he said Pipeline was one of the most fun coasters he had ever been on. And I was like, well, you missed a couple really good ones like Mako. Mako's my number 1 in the park. I think that's probably pretty much everybody's number 1 unless you don't like hypers, which is rare. But I was really happy to hear that because Pipeline was my number 2. Absolutely loved it. Check out Penguin Trek, Megalodon, Arctic Rescue, Manta, Kraken, and Poseidon if you can do all of those. I'm not sure we'll have all that time because there's a few other things I want to look at, but we'll see what we can hit. So, I think the entrance is facing backwards, Kings Island said. The entrance itself is not, as I can tell the sign is at the front there. Your gates are facing backwards though. Hot take, I think Manta looks better than Mako. That's a hot take, but I can kind of understand it. But Mako is so good. You get that 5-second floater hill. Whoa, take a look at this right here. This is now this screams SeaWorld Orlando to me. Because I remember walking through the park and you walk right underneath Manta. And this is beautiful because you have the path with the railings, the water kind of surrounding it. Oh, that looks really neat right back over there. A little bit of a pirate. Ooh! Speaking of a pirate ship, I want to go see that. But, oh, that looks so neat. Yeah, this screams SeaWorld Orlando to me. There is a water effect, too. Yeah, oh, cool. Take a look at this. I actually really like how you incorporated the aquatic theme pieces, like with the jellyfish and stuff like that, into the tropical flora and everything like that. I think it looks really neat. This reminds me so much. At the big sign, turn around. Oh, the water effect over here. So there's probably like some splash effect or something like that when the coaster goes off the mid-course. And you've got the fish there. Hey, Point Coasters, what's going on, Broka Nerd? What? That is indeed a hot take. Yeah. Alright, let's see. This should be going through the mid-course here in a moment. I do want to see that splash effect, and that is another element that is realistic to Manta at SeaWorld Orlando. Ooh, yes. Yep. Slightly different style, but yeah, very much present. Enter... Okay. You did misspell that. I'm not making fun of you by any means for that, but yeah, I would fix that a little bit. But yeah, coming back this way, this looks so cool. It reminds me so much of when I went to SeaWorld Orlando. I had such a great time. Was at Blackpool Pleasure Beach last week, was very fun, but the oldest wooden coaster, Big Dipper, I remember you mentioning that, was closed. The next day it reopened. What? And partially derailed, the back car smashing into the track. Holy cow. Thankfully no one was hurt. That's good. Well, I guess it shut back down after that. Opened for one day and it had a mishap. We got a duck below some of these tree branches right here. Whoa. Now, in this game, of course, you can't create... Well, I mean, you actually can. I've seen it, but they are so ridiculously difficult to do, is make, like, true aquarium exhibits. This is the closest you can reasonably get to simulating that, and this just so fantastically recreates that feeling. And I like the rock integration you have. Yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the front bumper POV. The flying coaster, it's a little better than on the inverts, just because the perspective puts you way too close to the track on the inverts, but the flying coasters, I don't think it's... Would Steel Vengeance be a better ride if at the end of the ride you would go up a chain lift and rode the same exact ride again? I don't know. I don't know, it depends on how good the ride is itself, to your perspective. I mean, I know it's extremely highly rated, but the people that really get on it and think it's too much for them, or is the right length, probably would disagree with that. But I think most enthusiasts would give a very definite yes. Pretzel loop, yep, haha. Whoa. That's a really cool incorporation of the zero-G roll right up over the mid-course. I just got a kick on the brakes there. You probably need it though. Splash effect. Whoa, right over the little pirate bay. Very, very cool. Yeah, take a look at the maintenance bay right over there, too. Yeah, that was really good. Wow. That was really cool. And what I really like about this, and I'm actually going to get out of the first-person POV and we'll actually kind of zoom in over the footprint of the coaster. So what I really like about this is it's very clear where you got the inspiration from. And I'm not talking the color or the name of the coaster, but I'm talking of the actual elements. So you've got the drop. The pretzel loop is a very obvious. But then you also incorporate some things that are a bit different. So you've got the 0G roll that comes right up over the mid-course. And then the drop off the mid-course over the splash area. But then you incorporate a nice little kind of swooping helix. You've got an airtime hill. And then kind of like this slow banshee roll right at the end before you get into the final breaks. So it's a really good combination of what you took from the real world Manta and what you did to give it your own twist. So this isn't a remake. No, it is. It is. I'll change the way I was going to word that. It is not a replica, but it's a remake. So the inspiration is very clear, but then again, your own twist, your reimagination of it is very evident as well, and I think it's a perfect combination. And the ride itself actually was very smooth. Okay, 1% of people need to change their mind. But look at that 15% earlier. That's so good. You need to change the actual coaster name up there. And that doesn't do it justice, but take a look at your stats. Don't count that vertical G. The minimums, for whatever reason, are kind of reversed through that pretzel loop. Your lats are a tiny bit high, but they're not bad. And I really like the incorporation of the airtime. You have two very prominent airtime hills. You've got the one right here. And then you've got that moment here. Kind of the swooping turn. And probably a little bit off the mid-course. It's probably not really airtime per se, because you're not really reaching 0. But this is so cool. And the other thing is, this is not really, it's not super large or super long. It's not very compact, so it kind of goes in a, I'll call it like a box shape in a sense. And so you have all of this space in the middle, in between each side or end of the coaster, and you did such a good job incorporating the pathing, the additional trees, and you've got these two rides over here that build very well into it, and I think that's a really good utilization of the space. One thing I'm not really sure how I feel about, nobody's really going over here. Are these rides, no, they're not open. Okay, well that's part of it. So they have nothing to go to right now. What I might consider doing from a park aesthetics and management perspective, I would probably add some stuff over here. I know it may be a little bit impractical to try to connect the path through here because they're very clearly different sections. But I would give them some stuff to go to over here. Maybe a couple shops or facilities, just so, because from a visual perspective, this is such good utilization of the space. But from a gameplay and park management perspective, you're not really getting people over, and I bet you if you open these rides it would make a difference. But get people to hang out in this area just by giving them a few things to go do. Hey, Spino or Spino, I'm not 100% sure how I'm supposed to pronounce that. Welcome, good to see you though. RMC gig, aha! I'm gonna go check that out. Whenever I have $7 million to build this. When are you selling tickets? Yeah, right. That's a super good flying coaster. This is really neat. Let me get caught back up on chat here. Maybe it's just me or the beast doesn't feel that long, at least in ride time. Well, it's going really fast, and from what I've seen, it keeps its speed very well. But you have 2 lift hills. It's a majorly long coaster, so maybe it just feels a little bit segmented, just because you have short, fast portion, and then a second lift, and then another even shorter fast section. Is it just me, or is it very hard to make short coasters in this game? I'm not really sure, to be honest. Spino is how it's pronounced. Okay, Spino. Well, welcome. Good to have you. So, yeah, I'm very impressed by this. This is really neat. Visually, I have to say, I just really like when you go through the entrance and you turn to go that direction. You've got the lighthouse and the large kind of lake here with the observation tower. At ease. World. Oh! I see that. I've got to read the chat in order and not go from the most recent upward. World-class execution, sir, with a salute. And at ease. That's pretty good. Alright, so back to the lighthouse. Actually, we can come over this way, as I know what we're leading up toward. We'll go back into first person and walk up over this way. So we cross into a new section here. This is Kraken, but not like the floorless Kraken at SeaWorld Orlando. So this is a different take of a coaster. Viva la Vegan. Pizza Pen, so delightful. And you kind of go across. I really like this. I did this in my tropical park. You use the wooden plank pieces and do invisible pathing over it to get people to walk out over. Does this go anywhere? I'm not sure if it does, but I really like this. You can... Nope, that's as far as you can go, but that's really cool because you can stand right underneath that corkscrew right there. Is that Project Purple? There we get an air looper. I guess I can't cut the line here. Dang. Hey, I can run through it though. Beep, 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 beep. Coming through. Beep, beep. I'm gonna get kicked out of the park. Alright, let's get on this here. We'll do front bumper. Reset the view there. It is a Vekoma looper inspired by Blue Hawk. Alright. Song by Ludacris. Project Purple Easter egg. Haha. So I forget exactly what that's called, but like that butterfly element or something. This is actually very nice and smooth. I like the pass over the station. Not quite a pass through, but pass over. Double corkscrew. That second one goes right over that boardwalk where we walked before we got on the ride. And again, you've got another track on the side like a maintenance bay, which I think is a really neat incorporation. Did Vekoma ever make a butterfly loop? I think they Oh, it's the bow tie. Butterfly loop into a sidewinder. Yeah, I was gonna say Blue Hawk has a butterfly loop. A bow tie. So Shem, a bow tie. If you take a Batwing, but then you reverse one of the directions of it. So basically a Batwing, except you exit the same orientation you entered in. So you basically keep going beyond it. It's not like a Batwing where it turns you around. So think of that as kind of like a Sea Serpent is to a Cobra Roll. Oh, Goodrix also has one? Okay. I didn't realize that had the butterfly loop as well. But yeah, so this is really neat. Bow tie pasta is my favorite pasta. Yeah, really nice as you walk by here. The scenery and all the trees and everything like that. This is beautiful. Really great incorporation of the scenery. Funny the Batwing isn't on any rides themed to Batman. No, I know. I'm trying to think. I think only 2 inverts have Batwings, and that would be Montu at Busch Gardens and Afterburn at Carowinds, which actually happen to be 2 of my favorite inverts. So nothing really else out over this direction here. So this is kind of nice, tucked back, but it's not too far removed from kind of the main area of the park, which is nice. Okay, coming back over here. So yeah, everything up front is confined to Manta and then Kraken over here. So what we'll do is jump back in over by the lighthouse again. Camera, first person. So we'll jump in here. Now we're going by some shops or some food, hot dogs, chief beef. I love it. Look at all the chief beef. Gulpy. I hate when coaster enthusiasts hate on rides that are supposed to be fun and not crazy intense. Also, Millennium Force is horrible. Okay, so that's the observation tower, so that's going back the way we came. So we want to go back this way. We got all of the restrooms there. Nice design. And this is very clearly going to be like the Arctic. Hey, it's the Surfing Shark Bodhi. So refreshing to see the OG Blueprint food and drink shops. Yeah. And that's one thing I really don't put into my parks much, well, that I haven't, I should say. And that is something that I do plan on doing with the new park when I develop it. What is this? Is this the queue entrance for the RMC? We'll come back to that. I'm surprised no American parks have a Helter Skelter, the lighthouse slide thingy. Yeah, you really don't see those. A Spin Marine, what is this? Oh, it's a wild mouse. Alright, we're not going to ride that right now. My bad, I didn't mean to say that. I love the coaster-themed restrooms, yeah. Hold my beer and hand me my machete. You gotta clear out a little vegetation, huh? I think it looks good, actually. Although, one thing I wish is that, like, the people didn't walk through it. Cargo Megalodon. Okay, so let me take a look at that. That is the exit. Again, nice utilization of the space, but you could probably put some stuff back here. Add some benches, maybe add some vending machines, kind of a rest area for people to hang out. Because the space is filled, which looks nice aesthetically, but it's not functionally useful. So that would be something that I would do, is add a few benches, trash cans, maybe a vending machine, just a rest area for some people. Because when you have something that is this visually pleasing, what I would want to do is come sit and just take a break after getting off of coaster, and just be able to sit, take in the scenery. Did you guys hear about that giant aero hyper at Blackpool Pleasure Beach? I heard it's a big one. Boo! Out! Alright, I am not going to walk through all of this queue, but what we'll kind of do is just a little aerial overview of it. What I will do is go ahead and jump on here. Ooh. It's a little cut off there. Can't even get on it. Okay, here comes the train. You know what I do after getting off a coaster? I go ride another one. Okay. I was gonna say when I read that, I was like, what, get back on it? Alright, let's do the Are you just checking out some creations? Yeah, Spino, yeah, Velocituber had asked yesterday if we could check out his park today, and so I said, yeah, we'll do that. I'm gonna check some stuff out, and then I do want to kind of build a couple things. I may look into starting a new park. I'm not really sure. What I actually may do is do a little bit of a teaser of it, or kind of just do a little brainstorming, and then as I kind of think more and plan it out, I'll actually officially start the park another day. After this park, do you want to check one of my builds out, or is there a queue or something? I would ask you if it's not a full park. We could, if you have a coaster or two that you want me to look at tonight, I would be willing to do that. I don't want to do another park, just because I don't normally do parks, but Velocituber asked yesterday, and I said that I would tonight. And, but it's generally pretty uncommon that I'll do, like, full park previews. Or showcases, I guess. Alright, so we got the RMC here. Looking forward to this, I love RMCs. Man, this is so smooth. All of your coasters so far have been really smooth. Ooh. Boy, that twist packed a punch. It's not a full park, just a park file because of the amount of detail. Yeah, we can look at it. Oh, yes, I love that zero-G stall. I absolutely freaking love zero-G stalls on RMCs. So much that I've actually incorporated them on some of the other coasters that even might not typically have them. Yeah, this is wild. This is actually really cool. You can get some inspiration for your Northwestern Yukon from my Granite Peaks version. It's all good though, the Curse of Bear Island. I'd have to check it out. Is the name of the Woody. I have a Ride 2 cookie. It's really short, so it probably won't take too long. Yeah. Back Destroyer 9000. Oh, that's funny. This was really neat. This was very smooth overall. I did notice a couple parts of the ride that it didn't really feel like choppy or rough. It just felt a little bit whippy in some of the transitions. I'd have to go back and rewrite it to point them all out. But this looks absolutely beautiful. Out! I mean, ouch! Yeah, some pretty good stats there. Those lats are high, though. Your verticals are good. 3 inversions, 9 moments of airtime. Not really high sustained duration to them, but RMCs, they tend to have a lot of very brief, poppy ejector moments. So that's that does seem pretty realistic. This was a really nice coaster. I want to say, I mean, other than there's a couple things missing off of this that are on what I'm gonna say, I kind of sense some inspiration from Iron Gwazi, a little bit. And I mean, the main thing that I noticed that this does not have that Iron Gwazi does was the death roll. But I definitely sense some Iron Gwazi influence in this. The first drop, the first hill, you come up into that. Yeah, I really like this. Iron Gwazi is... I go back and forth with Iron Gwazi, and Fury 325 is my favorite coaster, is my number 1. So, if I see anything that is remotely like Iron Gwazi, I'm going to enjoy it. As long as it isn't something that's like gonna try to kill me or something like that, you know. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that coaster, so another really good job. I will defend the big one to the hilt. The first drop in the back row 30 years later is still mental. It's so aggressive and there's bonkers airtime to be had. Yeah, I know you've raved about the big one before, and it really, I've seen the POVs. And it really does look like a fun coaster, especially sitting right there. You get that great view out over the beach and the water. So yeah, this is very nice. Okay, coming back out of this section here. I'm not going to do the Wild Mouse. So where... Ah, okay, we turn here to continue into the Arctic section. My number 1 is X2. Yeah, I've not made my way to Magic Mountain. I've never been. I'd really like to go. Check it out someday. I'm not... Look at all these people that are walking through the iceberg. Penguin Trek. Penguin Trek is a B&M Surf? Oh, man. That is not what I was expecting, but I'll tell you what, I love the B&M Surf coasters. I love Pipeline. That was my number 2 at SeaWorld Orlando. And the real... I hate to say this, I wanted to like it so much, but the Real World Penguin Trek is just... it's not a good coaster. The concept was nice, but the execution of it was not. Iceberg dead ahead, sir. You can't go through that. You're supposed to sink. Oh! So you feel like over here I'm wandering a little bit. So... I'm actually... yeah, you can walk around this. And I remember actually this has some realism to it because I remember having such difficulty navigating through the iceberg section. And I'm like, which way am I supposed to go to get to this? And it's hard because you can't really see anything other than these giant icebergs to point your way to where you're... Arctic Rescue is behind you. Oh, so that's this over here. And then over here is Penguin Trek. Yeah. Okay, so let's get a little bit of a... Let me get my bearings here. Okay, yeah, I do find this a little bit tough to navigate. That's not really a criticism of you. I'm not used to the park, and I went into it not having looked at the top down. Some signage, I think, just if you're wanting to go for like visual realism, stuff like that, some signage pointing you to the rides would be helpful. But in game, I know that really doesn't have any effect. So I'm not going to walk through all of this, but I really do. I'll take a look kind of here in aerial. And it really does look clean and presented. Take a look at the trains here. Oh, that's so neat. I like that. That's so creative. And this actually reminds me very much of Penguin Trek Station. That looks so cool. I like that a lot. You walk right down to that lower level, and here's... Okay. I'm actually gonna do the ride, because then you get the simulation of the stand-up. I'm gonna call it simulated airtime, as in not only the true airtime that you get built into the coaster, but the hydraulic seats kind of raising and lowering and stuff. Hard to lead the blind. Haha. There's a rad penguin. I like the scenery around this, as I mentioned. I hate train stacking. Yeah. I just have to adjust the station times or the load. Oh, neat. That looks so cool. Icebergs right over the water. Nice, another slow roller corkscrew. It's tough to tell. Penguin trains, yeah, that's really neat. Yeah, why are those stacking like that? I don't understand that. Oh, cool! I didn't notice this before. But you've got the glass ceiling right here over the station. That's a really neat aesthetic incorporation. Yeah, this is really neat. This was rad. Alright, Dale, I'll get the code here in a couple minutes. So, with this, I'm gonna be slightly more critical because, unlike the other coasters, I do feel like this one needed a little bit more smoothing. However, I like the elements. It's definitely got some creative... Yeah, so it's like a turn and then... I'm not even 100% sure what I would call this. It's got some really interesting elements to it. A really nice overbanked turn. I love this, actually. The positioning of the iceberg right up here over the overbanked turn. It was a bit rough, but Maddox might have just been trying to replicate the rattle. Well, it would reproduce the elements completely. Yeah, although it's not really simulating the rattle as much as it is just having some kind of jerky transitions, which Penguin Trek I don't think really had jerky transitions. It rattled the vibration just too much. And I had a terrible time on it. The first half wasn't awful, but the second half, it was so bad I ended up getting a migraine. which completely ruined my plans of Mako night rides until the park closed, which was a major disappointment, especially because I only had one day at SeaWorld, as opposed to I flew into and stayed in Tampa and drove up to SeaWorld. So I only had one day there, whereas I had 2 days at Busch Gardens. The smooth turns my zero-G rolls into weird turns. Yeah, so what you have to do is kind of skip that, or turn your smoothing down, like to 1 or 2 for a minimal effect. I got a Penguin Trek night ride. I bet you that was really neat. I didn't even see Penguin Trek at night because I bypassed that part of the park when it was time to leave. But I was so mad I missed out on the Mako night rides. I was just really not feeling well, unfortunately. But yeah, this is really neat though. We'll go over real quick and check out Arctic Rescue on... Ooh. Do I want to walk through this? Yeah, you know what? I think I kind of do. Watch me go up the exit though. Ha! Yep. Called it. Alright. Yeah, so now I gotta figure out where the entrance is. Is this it back here? Yeah. Yep, that's it over here. So I like the canopies covering the queue. That's a really nice incorporation there. And then we go through this and then into the building. I'll go ahead and drop the camera. I got Wrath at Sunset, front row, middle, it was awesome. Alright, can I get on this on time? Oh, shoot! Well, okay. Yeah. We'll go ahead and do front bumper right there. Hold my beer, hand me my ice pick. First it was a machete to clear out the trees, now it's an ice pick to clear out the icebergs. Hey band player, what's going on, man? It uses T-Rex trains, okay. Now what type of, I didn't look, what type of coaster? B&M Looper, okay. I was gonna say, I could tell the B&M spine, but I wasn't sure what model. Ah, the drive tires, that explains it. Yeah, another coaster jump up and down like a 5-year-old. I like the combination of scenery over here. I love to eat branches when I ride coasters. Oh, man. Y'all are crazy. Okay, so something really interesting about this. I feel like there's a little bit of a conflict of identity. Aside from the surf coaster having the penguin trains and having a very clear visual appearance to Penguin Trek, the actual ride experience, I would say this felt much more like Penguin Trek than the surf coaster did. And this was nice and smooth. One of the turns I noticed felt like it needed, and I don't remember exactly where it was on the ride, but felt like it needed just a tiny bit of smoothing. But this one overall felt much smoother. And definitely the fact that this one does not have any inversions, it definitely felt a little bit more mild. This feels much more like Penguin Trek did in the real world than the one that you created as Penguin Trek. So it feels like you kind of have almost a duplicate in terms of theme. And although the ride experiences are different, they do feel similar enough. So, I'm honestly not sure which of the two I prefer. This is definitely a more mild coaster. But this is still really a lot of fun. So I'm not sure which of the two I would go with, to be honest. I'm a little torn. Tried to make it like an area. Yeah. And that actually, if you zoom out and take a look at the overall park, I would say this does feel like the largest individual area. And I was about to say, maybe is this like based off of Arctic Rescue at SeaWorld, San Diego, which I'm not familiar with. I mean, I know that ride exists. And then there's a Manta, which is a different type of coaster. And then Emperor, the dive coaster. I prefer the surf coaster because it seems more intense. I would say from a type of ride, and I actually like the scenery a little bit better on this, but in terms of what you were going for with the coaster, I think I like this one a little bit better, so I'm really torn. Well, I don't have to give an answer right now. Definitely an Atlantis-themed ride over here. This is Journey to Atlantis. A very obvious SeaWorld reference. I'm not going to ride it, but I'll take a look visually. This does look really neat. You got the turntable. What is this, a mock splash? Yep. What do we have over here? It looks like 2 more coasters. Ah. Electric Eel. I forgot about that. That's over at San Diego. They had Tigris at Busch Gardens, Tampa. How do you feel about Skyrocket 2s? Love them. I'm going to open up a poll just for fun. And this is not oriented toward your recreation of this. I'm going for the actual coaster type in the real world. I ran out of characters on that last option there, so don't judge the grammar. It was not intentional. I want to ride one, but they don't exist near me. Alright, we've got a couple votes pretty rapidly. One person loves them, one says they're fun but not amazing, one says they don't care for them but not the worst. Not to influence anybody, my personal vote, I don't care for them. I went on Tigris, and I'm like, No, I got off of it dizzy. They're really good if they don't have the comfort collars, but if they do, then they suck. That is totally fair. I actually... Did you... So, I'm asking Velocituber, did you use a mod to get this to work? Because I remember trying to build a Skyrocket 2 just for fun, and I had nothing but trouble recreating it. I couldn't get it to cycle through the station without slowing down. But this actually looks really neat. This is a very accurate recreation. Visually very nice with all of the support structure. I rode Tigris 3 days before the collars got removed. Ooh. No mods. Okay, well, awesome. I'm impressed that you managed to get it to work. Question is, are people getting on it? Not really. Well, there's a few. There's a few. I want to see this. Oh, so it actually doesn't have the, Whoa! Yeah, so it actually doesn't have the swing launch. So you don't get the station pass through. So it's not the 100% true Skyrocket 2 experience, but yeah, overall, no, that's pretty nice. I don't understand that. Definitely not my type of ride overall, but that's not a criticism of what you made here. I think that looks really nice. And hey, to make it functional, you did what you have to do to make it work. So definite kudos. Alright, so we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, the last coaster we're gonna check out. This is Poseidon. We have I'm guessing a B&M Hyper. Oh, heck yeah. I actually do want to walk through this section. Holy cow, I've been going through this park a lot longer than I planned to. But this is really comprehensive, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. That's the exit. Look at this scenery. This looks so great. We've got the little pavilion with the Greek pottery. The scroll. Medusa turned to stone. What did I just do? That sound so freaking stupid. Always, of course, Medusa, the Gorgon from Greek mythology. Anybody that looked at her turned to stone. Although, this is not directed at anybody or anything like that, but one of my favorite... so it was originally, I heard it as a Yo Mama joke, but you could say it about anybody. Such and such so ugly, they turned Medusa to stone. Absolutely terrible. Alright, we are definitely getting on this. Yeah, I feel a little guilty for saying that. That was horrid. What are Skyrocket 2s? So that electric eel model, we didn't ride it, but we just kind of looked at it for a couple minutes. That is a Skyrocket 2. That's a Premier Rides design. Fits in an extremely small footprint. It has, not in-game because it didn't work, but in the real world it has a swing launch, like a station pass-through. And it's got that really slow heartline roll up at the top. Working on CIE's queue, may be complete at the end of the stream if you want to showcase. I don't know if we're going to get to it tonight, band player. But we'll see, perhaps. No promises. I liked the joke. I'm glad somebody did. I'll go ahead and end the poll there. I'm gonna say to my ex, "You so ugly you turned Medusa to stone" is wild. Hey, I'm not liable for what she might do to you after that. I'm gonna speed this up just a little bit so we can get rolling here. Any day now. I think you might need to optimize your... There we go. Your station timing. But that is not a knock on the coasters at all or anything. That's just a... that kind of goes into more of the park management aspect. This ride is Mako inspired. I kind of guessed a little bit. Oh, yeah, that's a very, very clear Mako inspiration. I love it. I absolutely loved Mako. Of course, in my tropical park, I have the Mako recreation. Wow, those brakes barely hit. Really nice little bunny hill before the mid-course. Whoa. Yeah, that's so much fun. That actually carries a ton of speed through the second half. I'm undecided if I like how that speed is retained, or if I feel like it was maybe even a little bit too fast through the second half. And yeah, the exit back this way. Very obvious inspiration from Mako, and I love this. This is awesome. I like the incorporation of the scenery. You've got the fountains, the trees out over here. It's almost like you made mangroves or something like that, which is really cool. And this is such a simplistic station. And it works. It's so clean. And you've got this really elaborate scenery in the front, but part of me almost thinks it would look even better if you kind of did up the scenery for the station over there like that. One thing I loved about that coaster was how smooth it was. It's not Jumper's level, but it's solid. I don't know, that's pretty up there, I gotta say. I think Jimpers would actually think this is really good. It's okay, she'll just complain to her bodyguard of a friend. My internet does not like my campsite. Oh, man. Did you say too fast? Don't be lame. Ahaha. This right here is actually really neat. And then we got a short glimpse, and I didn't really have time to mention it. But this is really neat back here. And you're going so fast, you don't really get much of a time to take a look at it, but you can definitely get a glimpse of it, and it looks really slick. Ran out of budget in Theme G. Wholesome emotional music hits different, I know, right? Mako or Poseidon? What about it? Like, are you asking me which I prefer? Whose build is being looked at next? Dale dropped a code. Dino Dukes is something that he wanted me to check out. You've got a it's a park file. I think Dino Dukes is a park file as well. I really like that little bunny hill before you go up into the mid course. Ooh, that is really tough. They're so similar. I can't really evaluate from a coaster perspective alone, but I would say from scenery, because if you think about it, Mako is built over like a large pond, and the theming at the station through the queue is incredible, but once you're on the ride, there's no scenery other than views of the rest of the ride and Kraken off to the side, and then all the stuff around the edge of the park. So from a scenery perspective, I think this is superior to Mako. From a coaster ride experience, I don't know. It's too close to tell. Look at that. Look at those stats. Ladies and gentlemen, right here I present to you Triple Green an 8.0 excitement rating. That's really good. Strawberry Jam, what's going on, man? Oh, yours is a blueprint. You managed to keep it under 8,000 pieces. I know you were saying when I talked to you last weekend that you were struggling with that. But that's awesome. Yeah, really good stats here. And look at these forces. Really good. Lats are under control. Your vertical Gs are very well under control. It's a little bit intense ejector, but hey, I love it. Seems the three possible names are Phantom Spire, Gargantuan Vertical Vengeance, and Bakunawa. Maddox got Jimpers shaking now. Oh, I don't know about that. I think Jimpers would be very impressed, though. I think he would. So, super great. And I'm not going to walk through all of this, but just take a look here. If we zoom in and take a quick view, you've got the path with the circles, all of the water. This is really beautiful aesthetically. And I would definitely recommend adding some facilities through here just to kind of facilitate, pun partially intended. Cookie, stop with the bad puns. But yeah, just to make this feel a little bit more developed and alive, because again, aesthetically, it's so nice. But as I pointed out, there's a lot of space in this park that aesthetically it makes a lot of sense and it looks great. But I think you could develop it functionally to bring it even more purpose, if that makes sense. But you probably only used up about 2/3 of, maybe even only about half, a little more than half of the footprint of the park. And you've got a really good collection of stuff here, which is fantastic. So super well done. Velocituber, thank you so much, man, for that's Maddox Coasters, by the way. For sharing this. This was an absolute joy. It actually brought back some really fond memories. Alright, gotta head out. Have a good one, Cookie. Alright, Point Coasters, thanks so much, man, for hanging out. I appreciate you. Yeah, the limit came. That's all you can do sometimes. But yeah, you did fantastic with this. Strawberry Jim, yo bro, wanna ride Gargantuan Vertical Vengeance? What the absolute flip is that? Oh lord. This was on PS5 or Xbox? Yeah, no, right? Yeah, I was on that and be capped on build limit, but no, to be able to pull that off on console was really impressive. That's awesome. Super well done. So I thoroughly enjoyed this. That was really great. Good ring to the boardwalk theme. Bakunawa, yeah, that actually does sound really cool for a name. The Phantom Spire, that's... Phantom Spire, I think, is pretty neat. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing. This was an absolute treat to check out. Super well done. Give Maddox Coasters Velocituber, when you hear me say that name, that's what I'm referring to there. Give him a round of applause for an absolutely fantastic park. Alright, I do need to get up and take a quick break, so give me a few minutes and we'll be back here in a bit. We'll check out a few more things. Great, I've been talking this whole time and forgot to unmute my headset. Ah! I mean, you only missed about a minute of talking or whatnot, but yeah, we're back. So I just went in and got the code for Dale's coaster that he shared before. So Spino and Dino, Dino Dukes, both also had something that they wanted me to check out. So you two go ahead and share the codes, and we can check it out. In the meantime, I will go ahead and get a blueprint for Dale's placed into just a sandbox park here. Yours is the very first one, no need for a code. Okay. If you want to look at my build called Nebula World's Most Extreme Coaster, you can. Yeah, please share the code. Bugs keep flying into my mouth and it's gross. That's camping for you. Ah, hey, it's protein. Oh, that's horrible. Good Lord. The Curse of Bear Isle. Oh my gosh. Dale, this happened yesterday. So I think for whatever reason when you're doing your blueprint, it's selecting all of the trees. Which, in this case, it actually wasn't too bad, but I remember yesterday as I was having a ton of difficulty placing the blueprint just because the trees were so close to the extreme edge of the map. Okay. While I'm at it, let me get the other codes. Actually, Dino Duke says you don't need it. Should be the first on the, No. Thunderbirds. Yeah, that's gonna be that one right there. Oh man, I'm gonna like that one. I like the theme of that. This music with headphones, divine. I know, right? I'm kind of missing out on chat a little bit here. Oh man, so Velocituber Maddox had to leave. Well, shoot, I missed that. He did a fantastic job with his SeaWorld park. Definitely give him some credit. That was incredible there. We named Project Purple Ultra Super Duper Scary Intimidating Gargantuan Grand Deluxe King to 375 Coaster version 2. Ha! Band player, no. I am not saying that. I'm just gonna call it the new thing. Hiring VAs for a Planet Coaster 2 Dark Ride is a whole nother level of dedication. What? The Dark Ride by Pixelated? No, I haven't seen it. Wow. Yeah, just getting caught back up on the rest of the chat there, and I'm not even 100% sure what you're referring to. Did Nebula code... no, it did not, Spino. I think you actually have to type the code. But if you tell me your name, like your username, I can look it up. Or, you know what I could actually do? Is just search by the name Nebula. Maybe that's the easiest way. Nebula... That keeps happening. It happened on Crazy Coaster's stream. So just... Wait, looking at these, just tell me which one is yours. And... Are you sure you don't have some ultra super, I'm not reading that whole thing again, in your future? But ultra super such and such is perfect, why not? It's not on that page? Okay. Not Nebula Park. You said it's a park blueprint, not a ride blueprint. Is this it? Nebula with colon, okay. Come on, give me some help here. Planet Coaster search engine. Oh, you know what? It's stuck on page 2 for some reason. There is probably not a page 2. Are you kidding me? Search up Nebula but put the park filter on. Nebula Worldwide, Marvel Studios, Testra Labs. Okay. CKM3PL3T5. Head back. Oh, you're way behind there. But I didn't even realize that was what was going on, because when you search, you would think it would go back to the beginning of one instead of saying on the same page that probably doesn't even exist when you narrow it down. That's it right there. So that's a park. We'll go in and look at that after these. Alright, so let me go get Thunderbird from Dino Dukes. We'll place that here. Wow, this looks amazing. Oh, it's floating a little bit. I'm not that worried about that. Okay. So first what I'll do is go ahead and check out Dale's Cursive Bear Island. Also for mine, the pre-show uses a custom screen, so it won't play, so just skip it. Okay. So what we have in here is... Oh, I'm sorry, hiccup all of a sudden here. Oh, very nice little gift shop back here. And you've got the ride photo counter. This is really neat. I like this. And then you've got a restroom. And... I don't know what's back here. But this is really cool because it's just this nice, cozy log cabin. With the gift shop and a restroom and the ride photos and stuff like that. It's just really nice scenery. And I'm not going to go through all the pathing and everything, but then if you take a look over here, you have... Do not enter. Loose articles are not permitted and must be left in a pocket or with a non-rider. That's cool. You get the... Ride safe, ride smart. That's pretty neat. That's a beautiful station, too. Another kind of log cabin. You've got the little fire there. Got a really neat looking RMC here. And let's go ahead and check this out. It's like an early morning ride. So we'll get on. This actually has not been tested. I wanted to throw my phone at the SLC. Alright, here we go. Let's actually switch to the front bumper. I figured out how to imitate 3D grasp. Oh! That's a bit too rough right there. That bear must have been on roids or something like that when he decided to curse the island. Okay. So, a couple things I really like. This coaster has character. Cocaine bear. Don't do drugs, kids. So this is some really neat elements in it. You get the two 0G rolls. It's almost like a horseshoe. It's not quite a horseshoe roll. Maybe it kind of is. So for me, this first drop felt really awkward. And I'm not trying to be overly critical. What I would probably do... I would maybe angle that slightly different. So, off the first drop, give it a little more speed, come up into a hill. You could even reroute it this way into the launch. I really like this element right here. It's not really a death roll, but you go up into it, and then on your way out of the roll, it not even really a dive loop, because it comes right backside, maybe kind of like an inclined, like half an inclined dive loop. I think that's a really cool element, actually. I would fix that turn there, bank it the other way, or give it a hill up here with the off-axis airtime. So I feel like there are a lot of little things that you could do differently, but I feel like the foundation for your idea is in place. Alright, band player, have a great night. Next time we'll check out, we'll go back to your Four Seasons, okay? Next time you're on, we can check it out if you get finished with the stuff you want to check out. I definitely see some inspiration with this. And I think this ride, in its current state, needs work, but there definitely is, I think, real potential for this. What are these? Modern Wow, you've got these floating spotlights. Whoa, I was wondering what those were. Just these little orbs floating way above the coaster track. Some of these forces are just so unrealistic. I mean, those injure people. But I do, like I said, I do see some really good inspiration with this. So I definitely, band player and Jimpers, I think, would be able to kind of help you mellow that out and kind of develop some other parts of the ride into something really good. So it needs work, but I think you've got a really good start. I mean, I see inspiration and potential in it. I love the theming. I really like the kind of northern pine spruce trees, large trees these are. The color, the RMC Woody. Definitely, as you mentioned, I think is a really good inspiration for the for whenever I do like a Yukon Park or a Yukon section. That this would 100% be the kind of ride and the kind of theme that I would go with. I love the log cabin too. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, over here I want to check out Dino Duke's coaster, and actually I did rotate it. Wait. I'm fighting with the other coaster that's nearby and the terrain. Okay, you know what? I didn't read the instructions because I was looking the wrong way. Oh. So I'm gonna delete this and replace it. I placed a height marker and everything, yeah, and I wasn't looking when I placed it, so don't judge. Let's pull it back up. And this time, it actually is rotated toward me. That's so funny. Alright. Line the bottom with the ground, place it down, and then delete this block. Okay, there we go. Got it right this time. Ladies and gentlemen, what happens when you read? Magical things happen. There we go. It's in my Granite Peaks contest park I told you about 5 minutes into the stream. Yeah. Looks like Air Force One. It's a totally different type of coaster. But yeah, I definitely do see the inspiration. Hey, Jurassic Point, welcome back. Alright, so first, before we even look at the coaster, I just want to take a moment and show appreciation for the really intricate work. I don't want to know how much time this took. That looks so intensive and elaborate, and I think this is just absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna find a place closer to a cell tower right now. Might miss this POV. That's fine if you do. You can always go back and watch the video on demand. But definitely if you can get a better connection, for sure. Some of those things are messed up because I used a mod for scaling. Oh, okay. Well, actually, as it is, though, I think it looks great. What is your favorite military aircraft? Well, when it comes to fighters, I gotta say I love the F-16s. I've watched the Thunderbirds a few times, and I love the Thunderbirds. Hot take when it comes to aviation stuff, but I like the Thunderbirds more than the Blue Angels. Yeah, I said it. If it comes to larger, I really liked the B-25s, believe it or not. Now we're going way back to the World War II era. I have a model B-25 in my office at work, a wooden, like, handcrafted wooden B-25 model. The F-16 is about 200 parts itself. Oh my lord. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this. I think we need to, and he says this is not even 100% the correct representation. But, ladies and gentlemen, I believe this right here deserves a round of applause in itself. Just look at the amount of effort it took to put that together. For me, it's the Freedom Dorito. That's a hot take, son. I love the Blue Angels. Don't get me wrong. I like the Blue Angels a lot too, but the F-16s with the Thunderbirds, I just like their presentation a bit more. Oh. Let's take a look at this, the runway. I never thought I would have a day that I'd get to say this, so those of you that watch my flight sim streams, you will get the running joke right here. Actually, let's come back and get on it right down here into a restricted area of the coaster. Get off the runway! So those of you that are not familiar with my flight sim streams, there's a running joke anytime you have a truck that drives out on the runway when I'm trying to take off in the Cirrus or whatever plane I'm flying, and I always shout that, get off the runway at the truck that drives out on it. And here we go in PC2, I finally have a chance to carry that obnoxious scream over. I followed a very basic lighting set for the runway. Also, my internet is better near this tower. Well, okay, don't let me geek out too much with aviation and airports. I actually do this kind of stuff for work too. So yeah, but your runway lights, you've got red at the ends, you've got yellow for the last part on the edges. Your center line lights are red, then they alternate red and white, and then they're all white. Your edge lights are white, and then you get down to the opposite ends, they turn to yellow or amber. Okay, not this way, so yeah, you'd be going this way. So green, white, and then they change as you're moving toward this end. Actually, your runway markings are on point too. Holy cow. That is super cool. I love the level of detail that went into this. Like, that's just freaking fantastic, man. Super great. Yes, Spino, yeah, many of my streams on here are Flight Sim. I am a real-world private pilot, and I work at an airport. This is untested as well. Alright, we'll check it out. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to front bumper here. And let's check this out. Turn it to night to see all of the lights. I will do that in a minute. I do want to see it in the daytime first. Oh, the mods with the launch. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't know if there's a way to... No. It doesn't have the launch option. Oh, man. Well, I don't know. Maybe not. That's something to fix. You can post a POV in the Discord. Yeah, we can do that for sure. Alright, I will go to nighttime real quick. Whoa. Wow. Look at this right here. You've got the little red beacons at the top. And the same thing over here. I like the various colors, like over here this is white, this over here is back to red. You should make a Big Bear Mountain style jet themed family launch coaster. Well, that's quite a combination right there. But yeah, these, man. That's so cool with the launch section. I can see as it's yeah, Dino Dukes. I gotta say, this is probably one of the most... And this is probably a little bit biased from me, given how much I love aviation. But this is one of the coolest... Certainly one of the coolest themed... and just aesthetically pleasing coasters that I've ever seen. Uh-oh, Crazanity's back and he's raving about the Beast. Awesome! What's going on, man? I got a back row Beast night ride. It was absolutely insane. So pretty, wow, gorgeous. Yeah, it really is. It's just a fantastic presentation right there. The laterals were everywhere, especially on the final helix. Oh, and while we have it at night, I do want to take a look back here at Dale's coaster. Look at the trains. I'm gonna pause that. These are glowing in the dark. We have glow-in-the-dark trains. That's so neat. And I want to come in and see the log cabin lit up at night. Well, it's still pretty dark in here, but you can kind of see some stuff. That looks really neat. Yeah, so unfortunately we won't be able to ride this since the mod kind of messes with that. The glow trains, absolutely. Alright, well, super nice to check both of those out. So very well done. Give both Dale and Dino Dukes a round of applause for those. Next up, we're going to go check out Spino's Nebula. Oh, Lord. Nebula, the world's most intense coaster. Ooh, NASA themed. Space themed something. So this is the only thing in the park. Oh boy. I don't even want to guess how fast that's going right now. Got the really cool maintenance bay set up over here. Send a link for the POV. Yeah, folks, if you're not already in the Discord and you're interested in perhaps joining, absolutely get in. The link is in the video description. And we have people like Dino Dukes post some stuff. We get some other people that'll share their rides or their their blueprints, what they're working on. We talk about real-world coasters. If you're into aviation, which I can see some of you are, we do talk a little bit about flight sim or real-world flying, stuff like that. No obligation by any means. This ride isn't even the most intense coaster I checked. Oh. So, where is... Is this another maintenance bay? Some track pieces? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a Connex with 3 air conditioning units. That actually looks really neat. It's been so hot here, I want to go sit in some effective air conditioning. And the reason I say effective is because the air in my office just doesn't really seem to flow very well. Entrance is at the VAB. Ooh. I see the ride entrance over here, and then I'm like, well, how did the people get into the park unless you cut it off on purpose that people don't come in? Hottish take the SR-72 Dark Star is a perfect successor to the Blackbird. That's the shed where the coaster cryptid lives. I don't think that's too terribly hot of a take. I can see why some people would question it. Oh, the big white buildings, these over here, yeah. Well, alright, I do want to jump on foot and check a couple things out here, so go first person. The Kennedy Gift Center, I see what you did there. Actually looks really neat, so you've got the space-themed building with the gift shop. 3 counters. Whoa, little bit close quarters with these shelves here. I really like that though. It's very beautifully presented, I must say. That's got to be the ride exit. Photos by here. I do want to check that out. Let's get the TVs with the ride photos. Don't go in the shed then. And right up there's the exit, so. So what we would do is walk back this way. I mean, this coaster takes up a massive footprint, just based on its sheer size. But I really like how you actually designed all of this with the scenery and such, because it feels complete. Okay, but I am gonna run. Kind of shorten it a little bit. How far back does this go? My feet hurt. Walked 11.5 miles today. Yeah, that's a lot. But hey, it is good for you. And use... Oh, shoot! Now I gotta go all the way back here. Well, actually, didn't know how this works. Okay. So you did say turn it tonight once you get inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch that to midnight now. And we'll go back into first person here. We'll turn torch off. That is 1 mile more than I walked it. Whoa. Easy to see here with the lights shining, but it is tough in here. Elevator Warden, how's it going? Yeah, I'm gonna turn that on just for a minute so I can actually see where I'm supposed to go. Do not touch. Or you get zapped. Now we can shut it back off, but you can't even really see. Like, I get it with the screens. I think if you did like, and this might kill the effect, but even TV screens I think would provide just enough lighting to where you could see to make your way through without needing external lighting. But I don't know. I think this is really neat. What's your favorite color? I would have to say probably navy blue. What? Ooh. Next room. Okay, that's off the path, yeah. Probably figured, but I'm like, can you walk that way? Is that staff path or something? The Bat is a really underrated coaster. Anyway, my day at Kings Island was great. I think this is the best day I've had at the park ever. Diamondback ended up being my favorite. I kinda had a feeling. That's awesome, though. Glad you had a good time, man. Then we go back through here. Whoa. What? Ah. Alright, then we're back in... Okay, a wide open room. The pre-show is all custom, so it won't work, just skip it. Yeah, but I tell you what, I actually like walking through and seeing this. Top 6, Diamondback, Orion, I got some good airtime room. Mystic Timbers, The Beast, Banshee, The Bat. Hey, Darkhound Doom, how are ya? I have a cool, realistic Kings Island recreation I found if you want to check it out. I didn't make it, it's simply called Kings Island 10 on the workshop. A friend of the Coaster Cryptid. I know, right? I was really impressed with Invertigo. Had those old bulky over-the-shoulder restraints, but it was actually pretty smooth. Well, that's good. Alright. So, these actually have custom train works. We'll get on that. I don't want to do the front bumper POV because the scenery will actually conflict. So we'll get the ride experience from the front row. Uh-oh. Yeah, the theming is awesome. Yeah, we'll have to look at it at some point. Probably not tonight, Jurassic Point, but yeah, we may check it out sometime. Well, that was like a reverse death. Whoa. Is it going to make it? Yeah, it is. Wow. Oh my. Has been a while. Hey, Club Coasters, what's going on? Been a while since I watched one of your live streams. Yeah, it has. Good to see you, man. Can't wait to get some much needed rest to recover the moment I get home tomorrow. Yeah. Well, I hope you have a safe drive back. They reopened Fury 325, so yeah, we'll have to get back to Carowinds at some point. Wow. This is freaking rad. Space jump zone. Space jump zone. Oh, that's so cool. What? Oh, and just when you feel like it's gonna roll back, it just barely catches that launch. Spine has left the chat. It won't be this summer. Never thought I'd say this, but I'm done with parks for the summer. Cedar Point and Kings Island were enough. Yeah, I'm not even sure that I'll go back to Carowinds until Scarowinds time. Beep, 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 and the ride is over. Man, that was awesome. I really enjoyed that. That was really cool. So much going on. And let's take a look at the exit. Ah, yeah, much simpler. And that is the ride counter right there. I don't know what it makes it jerk on that overbank. I tried smoothing it. I noticed that, and yeah, I don't know what was causing either. Yeah, I made my own Kings Island inspired park. I may upload it on the workshop someday and let you know if I do. I'd love for you to check it out on stream. Yeah, perhaps. That'd be really cool. I do like checking out, every once in a while I'll spend a little bit of time of checking out real world coaster recreations that people make. Manny85 I think is the most notable one for his real world recreations. They've done some fantastic. A lot of them are coasters that I absolutely love. 100% would ride. I would too. This was so much fun. It did, I'm sure it goes bonkers fast, but it did not really feel that intense. That should be higher. That's ridiculous. Right here, folks. 160 miles an hour. Yeah, the cheese hit a little bit. Is that 11? It did not feel like 11 inversions. Check out the train design I made. Oh look, I did kind of notice that. It did not feel like 11. Maybe just because there's so much other stuff going on that you kind of lose track. Track length 50.8. No, that can't be right. Biggest drop 235 meters. Just for reference, that is probably 700 to 800 feet. And that is a ride time of about 3.5 minutes total. This is colossal. Alright, I'm going to pause right here. We'll actually zoom in and take a look at one of the trains. And we kind of did see the idea from the POV perspective, but yeah. You've got all the glass panes right there. Take a look at the lighting on the sides. Track length is glitches, by the way. I figured it was. I don't know why it was doing that. Yeah, these are like the burners. These trains look super cool. Now I actually want to switch this to the daytime and see how they look, so you can kind of see it in the day. That is super cool. I really like this. And here's that super high drop. This is probably where it reaches that 160 miles an hour. And I think the way you profiled that drop is like perfect. Actually, no, click the coaster. Stop clicking the rocks. Click the coaster. There we go. And I want to go to the heat map. And I want to see how well tempered that. Yeah, so these here are definitely the moments where you approach that peak of Vertical G. But let's give a moment to appreciate how well these hills are profiled. So this gives you some, this is kind of flow ejector at probably about negative 0.6. Very high speed, banked curve here, giving a lot of positives. I don't know why that stays positive. It must have inverted right there. If I had one flaw about this ride, I think there were way too many launches on it. The launches weren't really spaced out. They were very close in proximity, if I'm being honest. I can see where you're coming from with that, but I don't really feel like that. I think the launches were necessary at certain points for the elements that are presented. Another floater here, right here. Floater hill, sorry. Yeah. Alright, now this is what I really want to take a look at. Speed. This is just how crazy fast this thing is going. So yeah, definitely does reach its peak of 160 right down here. That's what I was pretty much saying. I was basically explaining some of the launches felt unnecessary. No, I felt like many of them really were necessary. Because you could see in a couple points, like it wasn't going to make it to the top of a hill without a launch. Like, would you just imagine this? 140, at the top of this hill it's going 140 plus. And it rips through this turn. And a relatively tame 77 miles per hour coming through this last section. Now this is really cool though. Hey Bonsai, how's it going? Welcome. What did I miss? Quite a bit. I've been going for... Wait a sec. Have I been going for almost 2.5 hours? Wow, doesn't feel like it. Time flies by when you're having fun. Time flies by when you're showcasing stuff. Got a Diamondback back row ride. Amazing. And 2 Orion back row rides. Awesome. Yeah, really cool. This was a blast. Pun partially intended. Blast off into space. Okay. Yeah, we had some really cool stuff to look at tonight. You're time traveling, get it? Okay, I need to be quiet. I see where you went there. Okay, gotta go. Hope you liked it. Bye. Yeah, Spino, absolutely. That was fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. And have a great rest of the evening. We'll catch you next time. First 2 rides on the Beast were front row. Third and final ride was in the back. Yeah, you said the night ride in the back row. That's awesome, though. I'm glad you got that. I know you were hyped up for it. Okay. Next up, it is, I will say, time to kind of introduce what I want to do for my next park. So I'm debating. I'm just going to open up the Mediterranean biome for now, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do this one or the tropical. What are those creatures dancing on the planet? Oh, let's go back and take a look. I mean, I know, but yeah, we could just make fun of them. They're all the Planco mascots. So you've got King Coaster, Saguaro Guitaro, Gulpy Rex, Vody, Cosmic Cow, Queen Splash, and you've got Chief Beef way down under in Australia. That was a pretty terrible Australian accent. Oh, but then here's the fun thing. If you grab the planet, spin it really quick. Everybody, like, laughs. Yay! They didn't lie when they said the night rides on the Beast were absolutely legendary. Yeah. Okay, anyway, before I get too distracted spinning the planet with all of the mascots and making them giggle, we're gonna go in, we'll do the Mediterranean. And there really are 2 different types of biomes that I could see using for this park. King Coaster scares me low-key. Why is he making that face? Oh, that's hilarious. I've been getting so inspired to make a huge coaster. Awesome. Yeah, well worth it. Okay. So I'm going to open up a poll. And those are really the only 2 options. But for my new park, so this new project that I think I'm gonna get started on, and this is separate from the northern, like the Yukon Viking themed new park concept that I have. But I'm gonna start a park project called Adriatica, and it is going to be based on hence the name, the Adriatic Sea, the Adriatic coastline. And that kind of encompasses countries like Italy. So we'd probably have like a... I gotta be careful not to steal this from Busch Gardens Williamsburg, but in that park they have a section called, if I remember right, Festa Italia. It's been over, what, I think 22 years since I've been there. So, but that's one idea that I had. And then we would probably do a mythology section with a like a Greece style. We might incorporate some islands, some water straits and stuff like that. And then I want to do like a Croatia section. Kind of, they're known for the gorgeous mountains and beaches. Maybe we could incorporate like a water park area, kind of that way. I feel like well, this actually very well may be big enough, and actually if you take a look back here, I think this would be perfect because you have the water right back here. What do you mean King Coaster looks so happy? I want to make like a 400-foot coaster with a ton of cool stuff. Should that be one of my next videos? Let's let some people vote on it. I think that could be a cool option. We could give you a couple different types of coasters. Already did the tropical park. Would love to see him do Mediterranean. That's true, although this is kind of a combination of a couple different themes. King Coaster looks like he wants to eat me. Oh, none of you go to bed and have nightmares about King Coaster eating you. It's kind of weird. I'd save massive coasters for you when you get better at the game. I'd start with coasters that are more over 100 to 200 feet tall. Makes sense, although I will say I find hypercoasters, believe it or not, despite the scale, I find them one of the easier types to build. Okay, so we have 3 votes, 2 for tropical, 1 for Mediterranean, but I gotta say I'm leaning more toward the Mediterranean. If I do something tropical, I would just do a completely revamped tropical park. Completely different from the existing one that I have. Actually, the next tropical location I think I'm gonna do is the, and we'll look into it real quick, is the Paradise Lost map. And that is right here. So this is an idea for the future, not something that I'm gonna start on anytime soon. But I think this locale is really nice. It is a little bit of a smaller map, but I don't find it too unreasonably small, like some of the scenario-based. And honestly, what you could do is actually fill some of this in if you don't want all of these big channels. So for example, you could take some of this terrain, fill that in so you have a little bit more land to work with. I'm sure Obscure will have nightmares of King Coaster eating him. Oh, that's not nice. That's what I was thinking, but I like to challenge myself, but 200 is probably more realistic. Yeah, absolutely do some hyper coasters, different models, so I'll actually just go into the coasters for reference for you. B&M hypers I find are actually pretty easy. Aero hypers, these Intamin, not Blitz, the hydraulics, I think are actually, they take a little bit of finessing, but I find them pretty straightforward to build. I'm not a him, I'm a girl, guys. Oh. Yeah, sorry about that. It is a cool map. You can do a lot of stuff with it. It is a little bit smaller, so you definitely do have to plan a slightly smaller scale park, which is fine. I'm so happy. You gotta have the DLC. But I absolutely love the fact that they have incorporated the B&M narrow drop dive coaster, as opposed to this gargantuan. Other coasters that I would recommend. So the Intamin Wing is another good option. It is a little bit tougher, just based on the general profiling of those. I think is a little bit tougher than the B&M Hypers. If you want to go old school, some people may disagree with me on this. Where is it? It's up toward the top. Giovanola, not a bad option. These are about high vertical Gs, so these are not airtime machines. But you could definitely have... You can have some airtime moments on them, but they're more known for the strong positive Gs. Think Goliath at Six Flags over Texas, and... Nope, Titan. And Goliath at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Then you've got the Aero Hypers. And I want to say the Morgan Hypers, which don't have their own model, but are based closely on the Aero Hypers, are actually not that difficult either. They're all tall, they're fast, but you don't have to worry about all of the inversions, stuff like that. So I do think that would be a good one to start. How do you get the maps with cool terrain? Okay, so I'll get out of that. That's going to be an idea that I have for something in the future. So if you want, so your only options so far, and I really wish they would add more, you'll go into Sandbox, you'll go to New Park, and these are your 4 basic ones. These actually give you the most land to work with, but they're all flat, but you can always do the custom, you know, terrain work, terraforming. And so that gives you the most flexibility. And then if you want to go into each of these, you can kind of see a little preview. These are all based off of the scenarios. And if you look over here to the right, you can see roughly, like you'd have to click on it and open it to look in detail, but you can see roughly kind of what you're getting to work with. So, and you can evaluate each of them and say, oh yeah, that terrain would be really fun to build with or build around, or skip it. And some of them are pretty straightforward, some of them are extremely ludicrous. So yeah, like that. Guys, he's back. Oh, King Coaster. I will say I think either the final helix or the drop into the ravine right after the first drop on Beast were some of the best parts of the ride. Really good laterals too. The tunnels on the Beast at night felt longer than they needed to be, especially that second tunnel felt like it went on forever. Hey, at night that makes it... No, that makes it even more fun, man. Alright, Obscure, we're going to go ahead and give you a little bit of a break here. So we've got Bodhi, Chief Beef, and Queen Splash on top of Mount Everest. Yeah, Yeah, those look really fun since when I played Minecraft I like to incorporate some of my builds with the surrounding terrain. Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. Obscure, she says. What's crazy is I call myself a coaster enthusiast when I've never been to a Six Flags. Hey, that's fair. You don't have to ride all of the coasters in the world to be an enthusiast. If you're into the science behind them, if you like learning about them online, like watching the POVs, hey, there's no criteria that makes you an enthusiast or a GP. You just define as you feel. Now, some people may disagree with you, but who cares? Oh my gosh, this feels so smooth. Because I don't have 100,000 things in the park that are slowing down my computer. Alright, so I'm not going to fill this entire thing out perfectly, but just kind of smoothing a little bit of this. So I'd be looking at having something like a large lake in the middle of the park. Thank you, I'm happy not to be GP. And I think there's different levels of it too. I am not a hardcore coaster enthusiast. I'll call myself like an entry-level enthusiast or a baby enthusiast. Because I don't travel all over the place to go to all of these different parks to evaluate coasters. I mean, the trip I took last year, SeaWorld and Busch Gardens, I'd been to Busch Gardens before, but there were a couple new coasters I'd not been on. SeaWorld was a new park, but that was kind of a special thing for me. And when I went back to Carowinds, I got one new credit, and that was a Copperhead Strike. So let's just, for example, say yes, kind of an interesting shaped lake here. Almost splits the park in half. Hey, I'm a baby enthusiast too. I became a coaster enthusiast less than a year ago. Hey, that's totally fair. I have loved roller coasters for a long time, and so I played the original RCT2 back in the early 2000s when it came out. Well, it came out in 99, I think. And I got it, I want to say, I don't know, 2001 or 2. And had so much fun with it. And I'm going to do some open RCT2 streams at some point here, just to get back in. I mean, that's going right back to, you know, childhood memories, all the nostalgia and everything like that. But I never really did go roam around and do a bunch of parks and a whole bunch of coasters all over the world, or all over even the country and stuff like that. So, have I ever played Minecraft? No, and I don't judge anybody that does, but it just is not something that really interests me. Kind of like Roblox. I never got into Roblox. Never got into Minecraft. Alright, gotta get a little bit of water, folks. I'm a bit thirsty. So, I'm actually wanting to go to Carowinds again soon. I actually I live in South Carolina, so Charlotte is not that far from me. And what I've thought of doing is trying to time it. I want to go up to Carowinds on a day they're having a... So if any of you follow soccer or football, association football, not American football, what many of you international viewers, what we call football is American football. But I want to go to a Charlotte FC game, and what I'll probably do is try to make them coincide since they're not far apart, distance-wise, is go up to Carowinds for the day, for the morning, and then go to a Charlotte FC game in the afternoon, and then go back to Carowinds that evening and get a bunch of Fury night rides. Ooh, Crazanity, I don't know. It's a possibility, but I would not count on it. Don't get into Roblox. The way the platform is going is horrible. So I've heard. I played some Minecraft and made a coaster in there once. Give it a chance. It's nothing like Roblox. I hate Roblox. It's the worst game ever. And I've heard it's been in the news, and a lot of people have left it, and there's a lot of sketchy activity going on with it and stuff. I made Medieval Cities. That's pretty cool. Crazanity. We call football in America soccer, Cookie. It's called soccer. I know it's called soccer to us. I'm an American as well, of course. But understanding that we have a lot of international viewers, people that are not from the US here. I get a lot of Europeans. I think I've had a few people from Asia as well, and then we've got a couple people that come on from Australia and New Zealand. The rest of the world calls it football. So, and I would imagine that most of them, when we say soccer, they know what we're talking about. But I would not be surprised if some of them didn't, especially if they don't necessarily speak English fluently or at a proficient level. And especially a lot of foreign language speakers, depending on what part of the world you're in, of course. But a lot of them learn British English. And what do the British call soccer? I'm pretty sure they call it football as well. What parks could even fit something like Nebula? Also, I'm back for a tiny bit. May come in and out of watching. All good. Welcome back. I honestly don't know. I don't know what parks would fit it. It'd take something pretty large to incorporate. Who's gonna tell Cookie he forgot to end the poll? I did not forget to end it. I'm looking to see as we have people kind of trickling in and out. And I still see it kind of adjusting. Although, let's just take a look and see. 4 for tropical, 3 for Mediterranean. Ooh. I honestly, now that I'm looking at it and thinking it over, I think Crazanity had a good point. Crazanity is the Fury 325. I think he really does have a good point in that we already did one in the tropical biome, and I have not done... that's not true. I have done one in the Mediterranean. It was a mythology park that really never took off. So... as an American, I think football makes more sense than soccer. You literally kick a ball around with your feet. Yeah, right? Whereas American football, you kick it a lot less, unless you're punting it or kicking a field goal. My next park I make will be a lot more realistic and less of a theme park and more of a nature modern amusement park with a way more realistic park layout. Heck yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I will go ahead and end the poll at this time. To the 4 of you that voted tropical, whoever you are, I promised I'm not wasting your time. Because if everybody said tropical, I'd be like, okay, let's do it. But just the more that I kind of prep this and visualize, I really do feel like I think the Mediterranean would be a better fit, especially thinking about the Adriatic Sea, which this park is going to be kind of based off of. You come right down over here to this edge of the map, and you get this gorgeous view of the sea. And then we get a zoom in of some rocks. And then if you come back to this edge over here, well, there's some trees, but if you go high enough up, you get another view of the sea out that way. So I think a park that could benefit from a Zamperla Nebula is Valleyfair. A park is small and could probably fit it in somewhere. That makes sense. I feel like I made this a little bit too large, and I'm not saying this is the exact park model that I'm going to keep. But I've thought of doing 4 particular areas. So I definitely want to do a sizable Greek mythology section. And what I'm thinking for that is maybe, and this is all just hypothetical, I think what we'll do is tune that down a little bit. I voted I voted tropical as well. As I'm listening, I'm leaning more toward Mediterranean as well. Yeah, okay. Six Flags COO was seen riding Air Force One with John Aerie. Air Force One might be getting put in a Six Flags park. Ooh. Well, and I saw they, Zimmerman stepped down. Kind of what I'm thinking would be kind of some of the Greek, not isles, that's not the right word. But for scenery, not necessarily for all of the footpaths and everything, but something kind of like this. You know, some scattered islands and kind of rings of water, stuff like that, for the kind of Greek section, since Greece is really an island, is a peninsula, but also an island nation as well. I would do an Italian section, almost like Tuscany. Maybe we could kind of try to simulate some vineyards or something like that, and the Mediterranean houses. Also gonna head out, Cookie. You have an amazing night. Got a long day in the car tomorrow. Possibly a 7-hour and 30 to 50-minute drive. Hey, the good news is the drive home will be shorter than the drive up. Hope you have a great trip. Hope you all are safe. And we'll see you soon. Thanks so much for hanging out, Crazanity. Yeah, exactly. Not a 12-hour drive. Yep. I've heard people thinking Air Force One will get put in Valleyfair, but I don't know where it will get put. Yeah, I don't think anybody knows right now. I am very confident that they are not just going to tear it down. I'm sure it will get relocated. But this is going to be a really interesting concept. I'm going to open up a poll just kind of for fun, speculation. Alright, so just vote. Speculating. Kind of prediction. I was gonna post all the records for Nebula, but it holds so many I can't fit them all in a live stream message. That's okay. The park Air Force One is in is such a weird park. Yeah, fun spot. It's cheap thrills, you know. It's a bunch of flat rides, kiddie coasters, go-kart tracks, arcades, and stuff like that. Really, Air Force One was so expensive. I think that actually is a big part of what happened. It kind of bankrupted the park. I really hope they keep Air Force One. I keep saying Air Force One because, well, Air Force. I really want to ride it, and my friend does too. So I live about 3 hours from Atlanta, and yeah, this weekend the weather is not looking very good, but potentially the weekend after, so next weekend. That's the last weekend it's actually open. It closes August 2nd. But I'm hoping to get out there, and believe it or not, despite living relatively close, I've never been to Six Flags Over Georgia, so I thought about doing a 1-2 hit and spending the day at over Georgia, and then getting over to Air Force One for some evening and night rides. I would love to ride it, but it's more than a day away. Oh man, oh, that's no good. So think of something like this for a Greece area, and we would keep the land all connected for kind of an Italian area. We do a bunch of mythology stuff over here. You could even extend mythology into the Italy section as the Roman and Greek pantheons. Of course, although the gods and goddesses had different names. I loved mythology. I actually had to study mythology in literature class in high school, but absolutely loved it. It was my favorite part of the entire class for that year. And my teacher was like, "You're really into this mythology stuff," and I find it fascinating. I don't really believe in it. I don't think anybody really in the modern world does, as the, of course, with the history of Greece and Rome and everything like that, eventually, after Christianity really superseded all of the polytheistic pantheons throughout much of that part of the world. Had to study mythology in ELA in 6th grade. Yeah, we didn't really get to it until my freshman year of high school. But we studied everything from Greek mythology. We didn't really get into the Egyptian, maybe a little bit. We didn't do Norse mythology at all, but I think Norse mythology is fascinating as well. The Viking theme, I think, actually could incorporate some of that, although it has no place in this kind of park. It's like a fair, but with a random world-class coaster in the back. Yeah, Bonsai, that's exactly the case, yeah. Do you think you'll make a coaster today? No. I'm probably not going to be on too much longer. This is really more of a... This isn't even the terrain layout that I'm going to keep. I'm kind of just experimenting, visualizing how I would want to lay out this park. I could place a couple coasters just for visual. Hear me out, what if you make coasters based off of the Greek gods? In this section over here, definitely 1 or 2, potentially 3. I think that would be very well suited for this theme. You have Poseidon, the Greek god of the sea, and with all of the water. So, actually, I do want to show something. I'll show a coaster that I made a while back, and I do have it saved. So, I did do a mythology park that I ended up scrapping, and it it never really clicked for me. Unlike the Viking and the tropical parks that I made, I could just never get into the mythology park, never got a good layout going, and ultimately decided to scrap it, delete it. There's no remnants of it. But I did save a couple of the coasters that I made for it, and one of my favorite ones, I've got to find it in here, actually could search for it, Icarus. Aha! There it is! And this actually would work super well in a setting like this. I'll do a POV of it, and I think it would definitely take some smoothing, some revamping. This is a B&M flyer called Icarus Redeemed. So those of you that may not know much about Greek mythology to a high level, Icarus was the legendary figure who wanted to fly, and I think his dad was a demigod, maybe? And what he did was basically create wings with bird feathers and wax. And what happened was he was able to fly, but then he flew too close to the sun, and the sun melted the wax, so the wings fell apart, and he plunged into the sea and died. So the inspiration for this coaster was the Tale of Icarus, but I called it Icarus Redeemed because in this version of the coaster, you fly, the sun kind of melts the wax, so you kind of tumble, then, in my mind, the wings reform, and you fly, but then they melt again, but then you just start soaring through the sky and whatnot. And you have a happy ending because you don't crash into the sea, but ultimately you complete the ride and arrive safely back on Earth. So this is like an Icarus redemption flight, in a sense. And this is the one thing that I really wish I had saved the Mythology Park for, is because I did some really elaborate terrain work and some scenery for this coaster. But we'll do a POV of it. This actually could be a really good option for the Greek section of the park. So we'll go POV right here. Actually, I'm going to get out of this. I want to set some music, rather than just as great as the ambient music in the background is. I'm not even sure which one to go through from this theme. There are some pretty good options here. You know what? Yeah, we'll go with this. So we'll get on it. We'll do the front bumper POV, and let's go ahead and start. Now this is a pretty early coaster that I made, so this is before I learned really about how to do the banking offset, and it's probably not going to be the smoothest one. Beautiful, I appreciate that. If Little America built Falcon's Flight is basically Fun Spot Atlanta. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty accurate. It definitely does need a little more banking and smoothing in some sections, but you'll get the overall gist of it. Whoops. But that's it. Short and simple. But, and I will say with the version in the original Mythology Park that I had made, this coaster was primarily, but not entirely, over water. There are some kind of miscellaneous islands that the coaster passes over. It was down here, actually, the interlocking corkscrews. This here actually was made to go underground, like dive underneath an island, kind of through a tunnel. Whereas most of this over here, this first drop was right over the water, kind of simulating that fall from the sky in the Legend of Icarus. And a lot of water and some islands kind of sticking up in the middle, and at different parts where the ride would pass over land and stuff like that. But actually something like this I think would have really fit well if we did the Greek section in this corner of the park. Or, actually I really like this, and what I want to try to do is preserve the terrain along the map edges. In the tropical and to a lesser extent in the Viking Park, I did a lot of terrain modification at the edge of the map, and it really did mess with some stuff. So I would try to preserve the terrain at the boundaries as much as possible, and do all of my hills, mountains, stuff like that, inland enough to where it didn't interfere with the map border. So, but I think something like that would fit really well, and this would be like the perfect coaster for a Greece area if we were doing kind of broken island chains and water channels and stuff like that. I had a lot of fun building this, and if there was one thing that I missed the Mythology Park for, it was this coaster and the terrain work that I did. But the coaster could use a little bit of revamping, so we can certainly redo it and modify the terrain accordingly. And the other major coaster that I made a Aero Looper that was trash. It was pretty bad. Medusa! And which is the newer of the two? I think it was this one, because yeah, that's got the scenery. That one does not. So this was largely themed based on Medusa at Six Flags Great Adventure, and to a lesser extent Discovery Kingdom out in California. But basically a Greek palace Medusa. Of course, we got the Medusa head, and I think we could do some scenery effects, some triggers on the ride. This Florilus coaster definitely needed a little bit of work, but I had a lot of fun building this one too. So I'll kind of preview that. This would also be a really good fit for the Greek section of the park. Medusa being such a remarkable figure, famous in Greek mythology. If I caught the wrong side of it. If you're sitting further back in the train, you can actually see. In fact, I'm gonna actually stop that, and we'll go to a back row ride for a moment, just so you can see. We'll go back row. Isn't Medusa at Dorney Park? No. You are thinking of Hydra, but watch this train. Train goes right up over the vertical loop as this one is climbing up the lift hill. And now that that's passed, we can actually go back to the front bumper. Hydra the Revenge is the Florilus at Dorney Park, and that's the one with all of those weird inversions. It's got the inclined dive loop, it's got the inclined cobra roll. I think Ares should go to Worlds of Fun, but Dreaming of Valleyfair. Yeah, that actually would be really neat. Fun fact, I don't remember if I read this. I only use banking offset when building rolls, otherwise I just do it myself. So, you can see the inspiration from Medusa here. Ah, that was very choppy. Yeah, this needs a lot of work. The dive loop, the 0G roll. Oh, good lord, that's horrid. I built this really early on. I didn't know what I was doing. So, inclined loop instead of the Cobra roll. Second vertical loop. That was a tunnel. And the very two iconic interlocking loops. That just needs a lot of smoothing, but you can definitely see the inspiration there. I think if we were able to rework some of those elements and get that ride a lot smoother, that we could have something really good here. What I will say is, and I remember showcasing it, and we're like, yeah, that ride needs a lot of work, but I got a lot of comments on how good those interlocking corkscrews are, and I worked hard to get them that good. These corkscrews, I believe, are individual half pieces that I just managed to line up perfectly. So they're not even custom. And I think if we did 3 coasters in the Greece area, that would be a little bit tough. Given the size, we might actually have to kind of push this around a bit. But if we did Icarus, if we did Medusa, and if we could do one other Greek-themed coaster based on a god or goddess, we have options. Poseidon is probably the easiest one because he is so prominently featured in the mythology scenery pack in this game. Zeus is an option. Hades, I think that would be kind of tough to pull off, honestly. But that was a fun coaster. I went to one of the Urban Air adventure parks or whatever today. I managed to flip 15 times on a flippin' bumper cart thing. That sounds pretty wild, man. Wow. So we've got this down. We have a relatively good idea for the Greece section of the park, and I'm thinking of splitting it into 4 themes. Although I might do 3 or potentially 5. I think a kind of a center plaza would be a really good one for your park entrance with all of the shops. We would incorporate the parades from the latest DLC. The Greece section, which I've talked very extensively about. The Italy section, I think, would be more like flat rides. I don't want to steal the idea from Festa Italia at Busch Gardens in Virginia, but that's a pretty easy one to go off of, actually. And we could definitely do some sort of a coaster themed off of... I would say something that brings Italy. So Italy is known for having race cars, so maybe potentially an Intamin hydraulic with the race car, like Ferrari, Alfa Romeo. We've got a few options. Race cars, Italy. If you could somehow make a Leaning Tower of Pisa ride in Italy, it would be lit. That's actually a pretty cool idea, I gotta say. Is this a nation or a Mediterranean park? So the theme is Adriatica. And so it kind of themed around the Adriatic Sea. And Greece is a little bit of an oddball one because Greece technically doesn't sit on the Adriatic. By that point, it just opens back up into the Mediterranean. Kind of The choke point is more Albania and southeastern Italy, like Calabria. But I think an Italian section would be very appropriate. Greece, I think it's just so easy because you have the mythology theme in game, and it's close. So it's a little bit of a creative liberty by saying that, but I think it's close enough that you could get away with it and make it work. You could definitely make it work given what we have in game. And then the third thing I had in mind would be something on the eastern Adriatic coast, particularly Croatia, because it has such a long coastline. And I'm fascinated. I've wanted to travel to Croatia for many years. They've got the beautiful medieval kind of style towns like Dubrovnik, the walled city. And Croatia has some really steep mountains, so we could build some sort of like a mountain range kind of toward, I'm thinking potentially toward, for example, one side of the park or toward the back or something like that. And what that would do is give us a few options for mountain coasters, but also, given that Croatia is known for having like a really good coastline, that could be developed into a water park area as well. So we could incorporate a water park into this, which is one thing that I really want to do. And I had started the tropical park based on a water park with a couple coasters, and the coasters were just so big scale that ended up taking over. You'd have to go way back to my earliest days working on that park to see all of the water rides that I had, water flumes and stuff that I had developed. Mess with the mountain, maybe do an Alpenfury kind of ride. That could be an option. And I thought maybe surfing. Yeah, I don't think Croatia's known for surfing. I mean, you probably might get a little bit, but I don't think so. Probably more known for boats, so we could definitely do like some boat rides, like a boat transport. Log flume, river rapids would be pretty tough here, I think, but you could do one. So you'd be looking at Greece, Italy, Croatia as kind of the countries with themed sections, all kind of having a different style or vibe. Wonder Mountain levels of messing with the mountain. Yeah. And then, if we did a fourth section, it would be like a grand plaza, kind of showcasing everything that was encompassed with the park. Or the other thing we could potentially, yeah, I'm thinking with Croatia, we would do more of a kind of a Mediterranean resort sort of theme. So I have some ideas, I think, to go off of. And I probably would do a number of polls asking for feedback ideas. I want you all to be able to feel involved with the creation of the park. And I've done that throughout, not so much with the Viking Park originally, but with the Tropical Park I gave a lot of ideas to open up to you all, the viewers, and say, what do you think of this, or what do you think we should do here? And kind of let people, that way you all get to, my goal, I mean, and I know as much as you all are here to watch my content and hang out and chat and stuff like that, I want to take it a little bit beyond that and let you all feel like you can be involved, a part of the creation of the park. And that's what I go for. I try to get that community engagement, and sometimes I get more, sometimes I get less, and so be it. But And keep in mind the other thing that I'll be doing eventually. Maybe not in conjunction with this, but maybe kind of back to back, or I might bounce between them, because sometimes I need fresh ideas for inspiration and stuff. Would be that northern themed Viking, sorcery, Yukon sort of themed park. Gonna go super tired. See you next time. Alright, Bonsai, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out. Pleasure to have you as always. Yeah. So what I'm thinking is Greece on one side, Italy on one side, Croatia, kind of themed area in the back. Or in this corner, maybe a fourth section up here, and I'm not totally sure what it would be. I'd have to think it through, but if you all have ideas, definitely do share. I'm not trying to beg people to get in my Discord, but if you are interested in hanging out off stream, I highly recommend you join. I actually will go ahead and share the link real quick. I just need to pull it up in the description here. I mean, otherwise what I can do is just try to copy and paste the link. Yeah, so if you all are interested, oh my gosh. Alright, that's not gonna work. For whatever reason, that cuts a character limit. Let me just go back in this way and get it. Yeah, right there, if you all are interested, it's available. Like I said before, we go over PC2 stuff, we talk about coasters in the real world, and those of you that are into aviation, we do have some stuff for flight sim and real world aviation as well. I'm gonna do at least a wooden coaster idea for this park. I think a wooden one could be a good option. At least an RMC. I really love RMC hybrids, but maybe even we could try one of the Raptors. T-Rex, I tend to shy away from the T-Rex a little bit. But that even could be a decent choice. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential to do a lot of different stuff throughout here. One to another coasters. What's going on? Welcome. Maybe there could be an early B&M stand-up near the entrance. Yeah, that's... So, funny you mention that, because the very first coaster I built in this game, it was the very first day that I played it. And it wasn't even... It was my very first park. It wasn't my first full-fledged park. But just... I went in, set up a park, played around trying to understand the mechanics of the game, and the very first coaster that I built was actually an early B&M stand-up. Kind of themed off of like Chang and Riddler's Revenge. So it's funny you mention that, because I could actually return to the very beginning of my time with this game and do an early B&M stand-up. rather than the surf. Dino Dukes, I think my game glitched because it says one of my coasters has a max G-force of 351. Excuse me. That's so funny. I wonder how in the world that happened. Really tired. Gonna go see you next time. Had so much fun. Alright, Coaster Head, have a great evening. Thank you so much for hanging out. Gonna build a gravity group in GCI. See which one I would rather have in the park. Maybe a couple gravity groups. So, I don't think I would do more than one wooden coaster in the park. I tend not to do more than one woody. And I mean, in some of the parks that I've made, I haven't really done any. It's on my Afterburn creation. I don't know what I did. It very well could just be bugged. It may not have been anything that you did. Once one of my coasters had a lateral G of 250 on a slow turn on a kiddie coaster. Yikes. Oh, I see. You're gonna make multiple and figure out which one you like the best. Maybe a dueling coaster. Yeah, that could be really cool. Although we'd have to be careful because we'd have to make sure we could fit it. There's plenty of land to work with. But keep in mind, I mean, the theme of this park is going to have a large body of water somewhere in the middle. And I don't know the exact kind of boundaries of it and stuff. So the lack of land in the middle will definitely take up a little bit of build space. And one thing that I want to try to avoid this time around is something that kind of came back to bite me in the previous two parks that I did, the Tropical and Viking Park, is that I tried to use up as much space as I could, building toward the limits of the park map, so up to the borders, the boundaries, and I crammed the park with stuff, and it ended up taking a pretty big resource hit. Many people said that they couldn't even open it, and the ones that could said they were running so slow. And I have a really powerful PC. I built this for Flight Sim, so it's got a high-end GPU, it's got 64 gigs of RAM, it's got a really good processor, the 9800X3D, and those parks slowed my computer down. It's like I came into here and built this lake earlier, and I was like, holy cow, this is running so smooth. Because I wasn't used to that from having done all of that work in those two previous parks that were just jam-packed. What? A quad dueling... Yeah. I know you lying there. A quad dueling wooden GCI Titan Track 15 inversion inverted spinning flying coaster. Oh man. If you build one of those and pull that off, I'd be impressed. Take a wooden GCI track and put, I don't know, Gerstlauer trains. There's just something absolutely ludicrous on them. So. Alright folks, it is midnight. I've been going for almost 3.5 hours and I'm getting tired myself. So, playing around, I know I really didn't do much. This was more of a brainstorming session with this here, but I actually do think I've got a pretty good foundation to actually start this park, which I've been dreaming of for quite a while. So what I think I want to do is actually showcase the build from start to pretty much finish, and definitely have you all a part of it. So, would love to have you all here. Love you all to be able to share your input, give some ideas, tell me what you think is a good idea, tell me what you think may not be, and give me suggestions. So, they once actually tried to make a GCI invert. What, where, and when? Yeah, I've never heard such a thing. but I can say I would definitely do something with this and terrain work, because that mythology park that I built that I just scrapped, this was my favorite thing by far in that park. I think it should be an amusement park instead of a theme park. Well, I would say if we did that, that would be better suited for a purpose-built amusement park, almost like a Six Flags old Cedar Fair style, something like that. And that's something that I could definitely do, but that's not the goal with this. So if I did want to do an amusement style park, then I could definitely look at something like that and just build, you know, cram it with a whole bunch of coasters and do like little different themed areas. But we'll see. I've got a lot of ideas, but yeah, I'm always open to ideas and stuff like that. I may not get around to them right away. It may take a bit of time, but I think definitely is something that I would consider. So, gonna go to bed. Have a great night. Alright, Dino Dukes, you too. Great job with your Thunderbird coaster. That was so cool. I wish we could ride it, but we'll definitely check out the video. But, folks, I am going to go ahead and call it a night here, as well as it is after midnight. I'm tired. It's been a long day. It's been a freaking long week. I said earlier on, this is one of the roughest weeks I've had with work and everything, but hey, on the bright side, I don't have to deal with it for a couple days. I get the weekend to enjoy and all that good stuff, so I do think we'll be doing some Flight Sim and PC2 over the weekend for sure. Maybe even some Open RCT2. Hey, Velocituber, what's going on? Yep, have a great night. One to another coasters, have a great night as well. Everybody have a fantastic night. Or day, depending on where you're at. And thank you so much for hanging out as always. I really appreciate the support. Y'all have been awesome. It's been really motivating. Having such great turnouts, getting back into this game. I wasn't playing it for a couple months. I was really struggling to get back into the game and everything, and I've kind of rediscovered my my love and enjoyment for it. So, very grateful to you all for that. But yeah, gonna go ahead and call it a night here. We'll pick back up. Oh, it's 11 in the morning where you're at. Wow. Well, have a great day in that case. So, yeah, we'll pick back up for sure over the weekend with some more flying and some more coasters. So, as always, until next time, folks, thanks again. And take care, stay safe, and we'll see ya.